In this video, we talk about who I think the best MCU villain is.
Everyone creates the thing they dread. Men of peace create engines of war. Invaders create Avengers. People create children.
What is up, heroes? My name is Connor and welcome to Athletic Assault, where we combine superheroes and fitness to help you attack your dreams. I am about to go see Avengers Infinity War for the third time because it is that freaking good. And if you haven't seen it already, go see this movie, and careful for spoilers on this video. Today we're going to talk about who the best MCU villain is. I think there's really two contenders with Thanos on the best villain because the MCU, that's one of their big struggles, is having a compelling villain. And I think really before Thanos there was only two really compelling villains that could make this list. So the first one is Loki. Loki was a fantastic villain. A lot of the reason why he was such a fantastic villain was that you'd already built a relationship with him in the first Thor film. So you already knew Loki, you were already introduced to him, and so that made him a very compelling villain. Also, the actor Tom Hiddleston, who plays Loki, is fantastic, and a lot of people just love that character because of Tom Hiddleston. He's also a really fun character, the god of mischief. He messes with Thor a lot, and he's just an exciting character to follow. Another thing about Loki, apart from just that we already knew him from previous films, is that he was very powerful. He could handle all of the Avengers, and plus he had an army, Thanos' army. But anyways, he was very powerful. He wasn't short on that end of the stick. You felt like he could really contend with, Iron Man, Captain America, even Thor he could contend with. The issue that I think Loki had compared to Thanos is his motive. His motive was just that he wanted to be king, he wanted to be ruler of all, he wanted to rule the earth because they were very easy to conquer compared to him. And so that was really all of his motive, was just power. And to me, that's a very generic motive for me, and so that doesn't make him the most compelling villain. I did really enjoy him, and the first Avengers movie is one of the best of all time, and I loved him as a villain, but compared to Thanos and the other person on this list, the motive just wasn't there. The second villain that I think compares to Thanos is Killmonger. Eric Killmonger from the Black Panther movie. So if you haven't seen that, careful for spoilers. The thing about this is that he was introduced in one movie. There was no teases in the previous movies. We didn't know anything about him until we got to the Black Panther movie, and they still made a very compelling villain out of him. They told his backstory really well. They introduced his motive really well. And what I loved about Eric Killmonger is that people came out of the movie almost being on his side of the argument and on the fence between Black Panther and Killmonger. I mean, after the movie came out, people were saying King Killmonger and different things like that because they loved him so much, because his motive was there. His motive was that Black Panther's father killed his father and that he had a right to the throne as well. And there were people all over the world that didn't have the same resources as Wakanda and that they needed help, and Eric Killmonger wanted to give that help out to the world, obviously in a very messed up way. He wanted to take the throne and wanted to just send out weapons so that all these people could just overtake any authority in their life. But that was the motive that we could understand, and that's what made him such a great villain. Also, he was very powerful as well because he could fight T'Challa and he could take him on 1v1 as he did on the waterfalls, and also in the Golden Jaguar suit as well. And that's what makes him a compelling story. I love that they packed it into one movie. They made a solid villain in one movie. They told his backstory. You felt a compelling motive with him. They showed you how powerful he was, and then they wrapped up his storyline at the end of the film. That just honestly was so good, and until Avengers Infinity War, he was the best MCU villain in my opinion because he just had the most compelling motive. So then we get to Thanos. Is Thanos the best MCU villain? Yes, I think he is the best MCU villain. They did such a great job writing his character. he had, one, this film was so much about him. So you followed him on this quest to gather all of the Infinity Stones. And I love that about this film, that you weren't following the heroes, you were following the villain. No doubt he was the most powerful villain they have ever faced. It took teams and teams and teams of people to even try to stop him. And honestly, the only few people that laid a hand on him, Iron Man drew some blood, obviously. The whole team on Titan did some damage, almost got the Infinity Gauntlet out. And then obviously Thor at the end threw his Stormbreaker into his chest, should have aimed for the head. But anyways, he was so powerful. He could take on groups of the Avengers at one time. I mean, when he's walking to get Vision, it's just, that scene is so epic, just showing his power, that they would try to attack him one-on-one, and he was just throwing them away like freaking rag dolls. And I thought that was super interesting. But not only his power, but also his motive for wanting to wipe out half of all life in the universe was super compelling. And honestly, you really felt for Thanos in this movie, which is funny to say, from the mad Titan that wants to wipe out half of all life in the universe. But you saw his backstory, that Titan was on the same path that the universe was on, that there was limited resources, and there was more and more people being born onto Titan, and he saw this go down, and it wiped out the population of Titan. And so he had a compelling motive in a very messed up way. He wanted to save the universe. And so you saw his motive, you saw compelling moments like when he has to give up Gamora. You felt that love that he had for Gamora, which is so funny to say, but he really did have that love for Gamora. And so when he throws her off the ledge over the cliff, it was crazy to me. I mean, it was such an emotional moment for that character. So they did just a fantastic job for building out this character. They built him out over multiple films. I mean, he wasn't in any film intensely, but he was teased in a lot of films. And so you built out this character that it was building to Thanos, and then they really delivered on Thanos. So what do you think? Who is the best MCU villain? Do you agree with me that Thanos is the best MCU villain? Or do Loki or Killmonger take the cake for you? Or does someone else? Heroes, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like button, and I'll catch you in the next video. Later, heroes.